Is this man, Tarik Skubal, the best pitcher on said planet? I have my own opinion, but I'm interested in hearing yours. Let me know down in the comments or in the chat if you are watching live. He's got me excited. He's been doing a lot of things that are really impressive, and he has been doing that for a while. I'm pretty sure I was on the Twins team that he made his debut for or against in 2019. He didn't have great command, but man, did he throw hard. And we're like, where did this guy come from? Turns out it's Seattle U, so I have a little bit of a soft spot there, even though he's not from Seattle. He did go to Seattle U, and so he lived up here. So I'm yay, Northwest guys. The reason we're talking about him, I was gonna do a different intro for the show today, but we had yesterday's outing. Let's talk a little bit about that outing because it was a historic outing in a lot of different ways. This is his line. He threw his first career complete game, 9 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, and 13 punch out. Now, that by itself, they're like, wow, that's a dominant outing. That is really good. Striking out 13, that is good. You're like, yeah, he probably threw like 118 pitches to get there, but he ended up finishing it off. This isn't even remotely close to the most impressive parts about said outing. He threw a complete game in 94 pitches with 26 misses in 13 Ks. If you guys are baseball fanatics, which I know most of you, if not all of you are, you know that less than 100 pitches is commonly known as the Maddox, named after Greg Maddux, who was very, very good at throwing complete games in under 100 pitches. That is efficiency at its peak. You're giving yourself about a 10-pitch window and then averaging about 10 pitches an inning the whole game. That is very hard to do. You guys have to be swinging, you gotta be throwing really quality pitches, but they can't be standing there either. It's a crazy balance. But no one's had a Maddox this dominant. Usually Maddoxes are not technically dominant. So this is a different style. This is another level of Maddox. Possibly right for a new name, possibly the Skubal. So here's what I propose. You throw a complete game under 100 pitches with more than 10 Ks and less than 5 hits. If you dominate and throw less than 100 pitches, it's called a Skubal. I'm gonna call it that. Man, I just want another Skubal. I don't know, there's something about his name, Tarik Skubal. It's just it's hard to forget. Does that make sense? So he threw a Maddox. If you recall earlier in the spring, actually I believe it was right when the season started, I did a segment on this show called What Do You Need to Do to Win a Cy Young? And we used this man as an example with his command and his ability to get swings and misses was basically the theme of that video. I would highly recommend you go watch it. This is what that is at its peak. He's throwing tons of strikes. He's walked 7 guys all year. What? If a hitter feels like he's never gonna get walked, that means they swing a lot more. If they think you're gonna be in the zone, then they're very hyper-focused on not swinging out of the zone. But for Tarik, it doesn't matter because they're just swinging in the zone. Like, it doesn't matter if it's strike zone, not strike zone, it's a miss. They're just missing. 26 times they missed. That is so many swings and misses. If over a quarter of your strikes are swings and misses in any given outing, that is unhittable, and he did it for 9 innings. If he does things like this, he is going to win another Cy Young because he's just dominant and he has the command of Greg Maddux. That's just, it literally renders me speechless, and as you can tell, that's very hard to do. Last night, another interesting thing he did was throw his last pitch 94 of the game, 102.6 miles per hour, which is 1.3 miles an hour harder than the hardest pitch any starting pitcher has ever thrown in the 9th inning. Do you know who the other one was? Another Tiger, Justin Verlander at 101.3. So this is a record that I don't see getting broke anytime soon. That's ridiculous. He basically was like, if my arm flies off with this ball, so be it. This marks a very good outing, but it's a trend that he's been doing for over a month now. These are the stats in his last 6 starts, which have all been very, very good. Though one of them, he did give up 5 runs, which was the most runs he's given up in an outing so far, but he still struck out 11. So he struck out 10 plus in 4 of his last 6 outings. I'll say that's pretty good. He's thrown 40 innings, averaging 6 2/3 per outing, which if you average around 7 for any stretch as a starter, the bullpen be loving you. We can count on this guy pitching in the 7th inning. Bless up. He's given up 24 hits over that time. Good. He's only walked 2 while striking out I believe the strikeouts somehow didn't get on this list, but there's 63 strikeouts. But he walked 2 guys and struck out 63 over those 40 innings. He's got a 2.25 ERA, but only a 0.65 whip. He is throwing really well, and he is probably my Cy Young candidate at this moment. But is he the best pitcher on the planet? Is he better than Paul Skeens? Is he better than Max Fried this year? Is he better than Yamamoto? Let's match him up, see where he stacks up versus everybody else, and try to make this case from a statistic standpoint, and then we will go through some other points that I want to make, things that are maybe a little bit more intangible or vibes based for those people at home, because there's certain guys who are really nasty, but they don't exude the same type of come at me, bro, that Tarik Skubal does. Here's where he stacks up against the rest of the league. Okay, this is all of his stats on the year. This is the entire major leagues. 68.1 innings pitched for 4th, and he's only a couple innings behind the leader. 92 Ks, he's 2nd. He's only 1 behind Mackenzie Gore. 7 walks and 2.7% walk rate is 1st in both. His .84 whip is 3rd, and his 2.49 ERA is 15th, but his 1.98 FIP is 1st for all qualified pitchers, and it's not really close. He's the only guy under 2. I think the next best one is like a 2.45. So I would say these numbers are pretty compelling. I would say that there's not a lot of people that are this highly rated in this many things. One little side note, he avoided arbitration this offseason and negotiated a $10.5 million salary. If you guys remember from 2 weeks ago, all the mega contracts, the top 20, and whether or not they're worth their contract in WAR this season based on free agency. So I used the same number. I said 1 WAR equals 7.5 million. That means that he is worth 1.5 WAR this year in terms of his salary, but he already has a 2.2 B WAR. So he has already earned his money, and it is May. That is crazy. What else could point to him being possibly the best pitcher on the planet? Like in terms of rankings, this is his Baseball Savant page for you. There's a lot of red on there. And like I said, last year, he won a Cy Young. This chart's better than that chart. The worst thing he is expected batting average. And like I said, he throws 4-seam fastballs and he gives up homers from time to time. So sometimes everything will come down to the middle zone. He'll give up 3 hits in an inning. Like that's kind of the only thing that ever happens to him because he's just not gonna walk people. There's a nice balance between walks and batting average against that. If you choose to walk somebody instead of throwing a cookie 3-1, that could change the way that people approach you, but they just know they're not gonna be walked. So in cookie counts, they know it's gonna be in the strike zone, and he tends to give up some hits there. So that's just one caveat to explain the one thing that he's only the top quarter in. I would say that looks pretty good. Also, 2 years in a row, every single pitch he's thrown has a positive or neutral run value. Like that's something that only the best pitchers can do. Not everyone has 5 pitches, all of which are effective all of the time. That is rare. That makes aces. So, do I think he's the best pitcher on the planet? Yes, I do. I do believe that I would take him over Zach Wheeler. I would take him over Spencer Strider. I would take him over Max Fried. There's 4 big things that I'm noticing about him when I watch him pitch. This is going to be happening for a while, and it's not looking good for people who swing a bat for a living. Number 1, he's good when he's not good. Even when he's not super sharp, his team is still being put into position to win the game. So of his 11 starts, 3 of them have been losses. The first 2, and then there's 1 in the last 9. All 3 of those games have been decided by a total of 3 runs. This is what aces do. When he's going 5 or going 6, he's still good, and their team is good enough to win that game. That is true ace stuff. That is what you want to see. And he's thrown 5+ innings in all 11. He's gotten into the position to get a decision every single time he's pitched. That's another check in that box. Number 2, his confidence is absolutely peaking right now. Everyone's like, well, you know, if he's pitching well, of course he's as confident as he could possibly be. Like, duh, why would you not be confident? But I want to show you what I'm talking about because I did a little compilation for you. So I took every single strikeout that this man had yesterday, and instead of showing the actual pitch, I cut it right when he started to walk around the mound. So I want you to look closely at his body language. This is so fascinating to me, and I love it because he's really animated and he tells you what he's feeling. You can see by how he's acting, how locked in he is. Hitters are starting to feel it. It becomes oppressive, right? He looks like he's not bothered. When you're going head to head with a guy at this level and he looks like he's not worried about it at all, that's terrifying. It's like in Rocky, when Ivan Drago just doesn't sweat. Like, that's terrifying. So as we go through these pitches, these are in order. Watch him turn up his swag. You're gonna see him start to kind of like bob the head a little bit more. He's gonna slow down the swag. He's gonna pause with his foot up in the air. He's gonna nod some as we get going. Just check this out, because I love it. This is the first strikeout right there. It's like, he's like, all right, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today. All right, yeah, that was nasty. I think today could be a good one. He's like, yeah, this is not gonna be fun for them. It kind of slows down. He starts to get more swaggy. He starts to waddle even more. Now he's nodding his head. That's strikeout number 8. Oh, now we got the back pedal skip, and now we're hopping around the mound. I believe this one, he just goes the other way. There we go. He goes the other way because he's like, let's change it up. And then he just punches a guy in 103, stands there, and smiles. I'm so good. Like, this is awesome. I'm having a really good time. I have only felt that feeling on a Major League mound a couple times. When you see that stuff, you know you're not gonna win. So as a fan, it must be really fun to see. Number 3, he adapts quickly. He makes adjustments very quickly. He won the Cy Young with a certain pitch usage. This year, he's already mixed it up. Most used pitches is changeup. Last year, it was his four-seam fastball. Those have switched. Then he goes four-seam, which his four-seam, he has added 1.5 inches of ride on. So that would explain why he's using that with the changeup. And he's added 1 inch of fade on his changeup. So those are the 2 pitches that have added movement. His curveball's harder, his slider's harder, and his sinker's a little harder this year. But they are moving a little bit less. So he has 2 elite pitches in the changeup and four-seam fastball. Then he's using the other 3 off of them, as opposed to just throwing all the pitches and having them be nasty by movement. And so he has very clearly made slight adjustments in that way. All right, let's get to the last one. He can take over a game. All of the things I just mentioned right there, he's got great command, he's got great stuff, but he just decides to take over a game, and you see the Mamba mentality, the King James effect. You see what you commonly see in a basketball game, and sometimes in football with like a running back, someone who's just like, you're just not gonna beat me. And he's one of those dudes, and I love to see that. We need more of that stuff in baseball. I believe that Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher on the planet. Love that man. Love watching him pitch. And shout out to Seattle U. Let me know down in the comments if you agree, you disagree, if you think anyone's better. But I'm using the eye test, I'm using the stats test. It's hard to, I think you can make an argument either way. So let me know down there.